The notification from my banking app flashed across my phone screen, and I watched half my paycheck vanish into the black hole of my family's mortgage. Again, just like it had every month for the past 8 years. My name is Nora, and I'm what you'd call the responsible one in my family. The one who always does the right thing, who never rocks the boat, who makes sure everything runs smoothly while everyone else lives their best life. Nora, honey, can you grab the salad bowl from the top shelf? Mom called from the kitchen. I was already reaching for it before she finished her sentence. Thursday family dinners were non-negotiable in the Ortiz household, even though I lived across town. Anthony's running a little late, Dad announced, not looking up from his newspaper. He texted saying traffic is bad. Of course he was late. My younger brother was always late, always had an excuse, and always got away with it. I bit my tongue and focused on setting the table instead. When Anthony finally breezed in, 45 minutes later, he didn't even apologize. "Hey, everyone," he called out, dropping into his chair like he owned the place. "Man, you wouldn't believe the day I've had." "Poor baby," Mom cooed, immediately serving him an extra-large portion. "Tell us all about it." I stabbed at my salad, while Anthony launched into a dramatic story about his boss being totally unreasonable about deadlines. The same boss who, according to last week's story, was basically a second mom to him. "Oh, by the way," he said between mouthfuls, "the garage door's fixed now. Guy came yesterday." I froze mid-bite. "The repair I paid for last week?" "Yeah, that's the one." He didn't even look up from his plate. Mom jumped in before I could say more. "We're all so blessed to have such a generous sister, aren't we, Anthony?" "Mm-hmm," he mumbled, reaching for more bread. Dad cleared his throat. "Speaking of expenses, Nora, the property tax is due next month. You'll make sure that's covered, right? We don't want any late fees." "Of course, Dad." My voice came out flatter than I intended. "Just like always. Don't use that tone," Mom scolded. "Family helps family. You're the only one with a stable income right now, and you know Anthony is still finding his path." At 32, I was tired of hearing about Anthony's path. He'd been finding it since dropping out of college 9 years ago, bouncing between jobs while I quietly funded our parents' dream home. "I know, Mom. I push my food around the plate. It's a lot sometimes." "A lot?" Dad's voice took on that stern edge I'd known since childhood. "Your brother would do the same for you if the situations were reversed." Would he, though? I'd never seen evidence of that. The doorbell rang, saving me from having to respond. Mom hurried to answer it, and I heard our neighbor Aurora's voice floating in from the entryway. "Oh, I just wanted to return this casserole dish," Aurora said, "and to say how wonderful it is, what you're doing for Anthony. Not many young people get such an amazing head start in life these days." My fork clattered against the plate. "What do you mean?" Aurora stepped into the dining room, her eyes widening slightly at my tone. "Oh, the house, of course. Such a generous gift for someone his age. My nephew would kill for an arrangement like that." The room went deadly quiet. Mom's face had gone pale, and Dad was suddenly very interested in his napkin. Anthony choked on his water. "Aurora," Mom said quickly, "thank you for returning the dish. We're just in the middle of dinner." But I barely heard her. My mind was spinning, trying to process Aurora's words. Gift? Arrangement? What was she talking about? Of course. Aurora backed toward the door, clearly sensing the tension. "Have a lovely evening." The silence that followed her exit was deafening. I looked around the table at my family's faces, seeing guilt, panic, and something else I couldn't quite name. "What did she mean?" I asked quietly. "About the house being a gift for Anthony?" "Oh, you know Aurora," Mom laughed nervously. "She's always getting things mixed up. Remember when she thought Mrs. Peterson's cat was actually a very small dog? But I noticed how Dad wouldn't meet my eyes, how Anthony suddenly became fascinated with his phone. how Mom's hands trembled slightly as she reached for the water pitcher. My phone buzzed again. Another banking notification. Another automatic payment cleared. Another chunk of my life handed over to support what I'd always believed was our family's shared dream. But Aurora's words echoed in my head, and for the first time in 8 years, I wondered exactly what I'd been paying for all this time. Aurora's words haunted me for days. I tried to push them aside, focus on work, pretend everything was normal. But that nagging feeling wouldn't go away. I decided to test the waters with Anthony first. He was always easier to crack than our parents when caught off guard. I found him at his usual Saturday spot, the local coffee shop where he worked on his screenplay. "Hey, stranger," I said, sliding into the seat across from him. His laptop was open, but I could see he was just scrolling through social media. "Nora, what are you doing here?" He quickly switched tabs, trying to look busy. "Can't a sister check in on her favorite brother?" I kept my tone light, stirring my coffee. "Actually, I wanted to talk about the house." His shoulders tensed slightly. "What about it?" "I've been thinking about maybe refinancing. Interest rates are pretty good right now." I watched his face carefully. "Would make the monthly payments easier." "Oh, he shifted in his seat. "You should probably talk to Mom and Dad about that stuff. I don't really understand all the financial things." "Funny," I said, "since Aurora seemed to think you were pretty involved in the house situation." Anthony's coffee cup froze halfway to his mouth. "Aurora needs to mind her own business." "So there is something to mind?" "I didn't say that." He started packing up his laptop. "Look, I've got to run. I'm meeting someone." "Anthony." My voice stopped him. "What's really going on with the house?" "Nothing. God, you're so paranoid sometimes." He stood up, almost knocking over his chair. Just talk to Mom and Dad, okay?" I watched him practically run out of the coffee shop, and my stomach twisted. Something was definitely wrong. Back home, I dug through my filing cabinet, pulling out every document related to the house. Most were copies Mom had given me years ago when we set up the automatic payments. But nothing looked unusual at first glance. The mail slot clicked, and I heard the thud of letters hitting the floor. Bills, junk mail, and my hand stopped on a thick envelope addressed to Anthony Ortiz at my parents' address. I shouldn't open it. I knew I shouldn't. But Aurora's words echoed in my head, and Anthony's strange behavior at the coffee shop. My hands shook as I carefully steamed the envelope open. Inside was a property tax assessment notice. Standard stuff, except for one detail that made my blood run cold. Property owner, Anthony Ortiz. Not Ronald and Marin Ortiz. Not our parents. Anthony. My phone rang, making me jump. Mom's name flashed on the screen. "Hello?" I tried to keep my voice steady. "Honey, I just got a call from Anthony. He said you were asking strange questions about the house. You're not worried about anything, are you?" The false concern in her voice made me feel sick. How many times had she used that tone to manipulate me? "Actually, Mom, I was thinking about looking into refinancing options. Since I'm making the payments, it might be good to understand the full situation." A pause. "Oh, sweetie, you don't need to worry about all that. Your father and I have everything under control." "Do you?" I was holding the tax notice so tight it was crumpling. "Because I'm looking at some interesting paperwork right now." "What paperwork?" Her voice sharpened. "Nora, what are you doing?" "I think the better question is, what have you been doing? With my money? With the house?" "Now listen here," she said, all pretense of motherly concern gone. "Whatever you think you know, I know the house is in Anthony's name." The words came out like ice. "Want to explain that?" The line went silent for so long I thought she'd hung up. Then, "Your father will call you later. We need to discuss this as a family." "No," I said. "I think I need to discuss this with a lawyer." "Don't you dare," she hissed. "After everything we've done for you," I hung up. My hands were shaking, but not from fear anymore. 8 years. 8 years of payments, of sacrifices, of family helps family. My phone immediately started buzzing with texts from Anthony. What did you say to Mom? Why are you causing problems? You're going to ruin everything. I turned my phone off and sat there, surrounded by papers, feeling the weight of years of deception pressing down on me. They'd used me. All of them. Used my sense of duty, my love for family, my desire to help. But as I looked at the property tax notice again, a cold clarity settled over me. They'd played me for a fool, but the game wasn't over yet. Not by a long shot. I spent the next 3 days in a fever of investigation. Every lunch break, every evening after work, I dug deeper into the web of lies my family had woven. The County Records Office website became my new homepage. Property records, tax assessments, mortgage documents. I pulled everything I could find. The truth hit like a punch to the gut. The house had been in Anthony's name from day one. Every dollar I'd paid thinking I was helping our parents had actually been building equity for my brother. My phone buzzed. Caitlin, my best friend since college. Hey, you've been MIA for days. Everything okay? I hadn't told anyone yet, but I needed to talk to someone before I exploded. Can you come over? Now? 20 minutes later, Caitlin sat on my couch while I paced, documents spread across my coffee table. They played me, I said, hands shaking as I showed her the evidence. 8 years, Kate. 8 years of them telling me the house was for Mom and Dad's retirement. Those manipulative bastards, Caitlin muttered, scanning the papers. How much money are we talking about? I showed her the calculations I'd made. Her eyes widened. Holy shit, Nora. That's enough for a down payment on my own house. Twice over. I collapsed into a chair. And that's not even the worst part. I pulled out an old email I'd found, printed and highlighted. It was from my father to the mortgage broker, dated before the purchase. My daughter will be making the payments, but we need to keep her name off the documents. She doesn't need to know the details. Caitlin's face turned red with anger. They deliberately deceived you. This is fraud, Nora. Actual, legal fraud. I know. A memory suddenly hit me. Being 16, taking the blame when Anthony crashed Dad's car. Mom saying, "Be a good sister, Nora. Family protects family." They've always known exactly how to play me. My phone rang. Dad. Again. I let it go to voicemail. You have to do something, Caitlin said. You can't let them get away with this. I played the latest voicemail on speaker. Nora, this childish behavior needs to stop. Your mother is beside herself. Come to dinner tomorrow and we'll explain everything. Explain everything? Caitlin scoffed. More like gaslight you into submission. She was right. I could already imagine it. Mom's tears, Dad's stern disappointment, Anthony's practiced puppy eyes. The same routine they'd used my entire life. Remember when Anthony borrowed your car in college? Caitlin asked. Totaled it, and somehow you ended up apologizing to him? I did remember. I'd even helped him pay for a new car afterward, believing his promises to pay me back. Just like I'd believed every promise about this house. My phone pinged with a text from Anthony. Mom's crying because of you. Hope you're happy. Classic manipulation, Caitlin said, reading over my shoulder. Make you the bad guy for discovering their lies. I opened my laptop and pulled up my bank's website. 8 years of automatic payments, scheduled like clockwork. My finger hovered over the cancel payment button. Do it, Caitlin urged. Hit them where it hurts. But something caught my eye in the payment details. The routing number. It didn't match the mortgage company's information. Kate, I said slowly, look at this. The payments aren't going directly to the mortgage company. They're going to some other account first. We spent the next hour following the money trail. The payments went to an account in my parents' names, which then paid the mortgage. Most of it anyway. A significant portion went elsewhere. They've been skimming money off the top, Caitlin whispered, using your payments for other things. My hands clenched into fists. Anthony's new car last year, his emergency trip to Europe, the renovations to his master bathroom. Nora! Caitlin grabbed my shoulders. This isn't just family drama anymore. This is criminal. You need a lawyer. She was right. This went beyond manipulation. They'd stolen from me, committed fraud, probably broken dozens of laws I didn't even know about. My phone rang again. Mom this time, probably ready with fresh tears and guilt trips, but something had shifted inside me. The good daughter, the responsible sister, the one who always sacrificed, that person was gone. In her place was someone else, someone angry, someone ready to fight back. I picked up my phone, but not to answer their calls. Instead, I opened my browser and typed, "Lawyers specializing in financial fraud." "What are you going to do?" Caitlin asked. I thought about every guilt trip, every manipulation, every lie. I'm going to make them wish they'd never taught me about family loyalty. I sat across from Guy McCarthy in his downtown office, watching him review my documents. His expression grew darker with each page he turned. He paused, adjusting his glasses. "Quite something. Your parents set up an elaborate scheme here. And they've been running it for 8 years?" "Yes." I handed him the latest bank statements. "But before I take legal action, I want to confirm something. I'm going to their house tonight. If I record them admitting what they did..." He nodded. "That would strengthen our case considerably. But be careful. Don't let them know you're recording, and don't directly accuse them. Let them do the talking." 2 hours later, I stood on my parents' doorstep, phone recording in my pocket. Mom opened the door with red-rimmed eyes. "Finally! We've been so worried." She tried to hug me, but I stepped past her into the house. Dad and Anthony sat in the living room. Anthony wouldn't meet my eyes. "Sit down, Nora," Dad commanded. "We need to discuss your recent behavior." I remained standing. "Yes, we do. I've been looking at the mortgage payments." "Now, honey," Mom started. "I know you're confused. I'm not confused. I just want to understand." I kept my voice steady. "Help me understand why the house is in Anthony's name." Dad leaned forward. "Everything we've done has been for this family's future." "Which family member's future exactly?" "Your brother needed security," Mom jumped in. "A foundation to build his life on. You were already so successful." "Successful enough to pay for everyone else's dreams, you mean?" "Don't be dramatic," Dad snapped. "It was always for your brother's future. You know he needs more support than you do." "Got it. First admission recorded." "Support?" I laughed. "Is that what you call taking my money under false pretenses?" "We never took anything," Mom protested. "We just arranged things in a way that helped everyone." "Arranged things?" I pulled out the property tax notice. "Like putting the house in Anthony's name while telling me it was for your retirement?" "Keep your voice down," Dad warned. "The neighbors." "The neighbors already know. That's how I found out, remember? Aurora told me about Anthony's generous gift." Anthony finally spoke up. "It's not like that, sis. Mom and Dad just wanted..." "To use my money to buy you a house?" I turned to him. "While letting me think I was helping our parents?" "You make it sound so terrible," Mom said. "We're family. Family helps each other. Family doesn't commit fraud." The room went silent. Dad's face turned red. "Fraud?" he sputtered. "How dare you accuse us?" "The mortgage broker emails, Dad. I found them. You specifically arranged to keep me off the documents while using my money." Mom started crying. "Right on schedule." "We had to," she wailed. "You wouldn't have understood. You've always been so rigid about things." "Rigid?" I pulled out my phone, stopped the recording, and started a new one. "Tell me exactly what I wouldn't have understood." Dad fell right into it. Your brother needed this house more than you. We knew you'd never agree to just give him the money directly, so we had to be creative with the arrangements. Second admission recorded. Creative? I said. Like skimming money from my payments for Anthony's car? His vacation? Mom gasped. Anthony looked like he might throw up. That's enough. Dad stood up. I won't be interrogated in my own home. It's not your home, Dad. It's Anthony's. Bought with my money. Get out, he pointed to the door, until you can show proper respect. Respect? I laughed. Like the respect you showed me while stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars? We didn't steal anything, Mom shrieked. We just redistributed the family resources to where they were needed most. Perfect. Third admission recorded. I walked to the door, then turned back. You know what the funny thing is? If you'd just asked me for help 8 years ago, been honest about wanting to help Anthony, I probably would have agreed. But you chose to lie, to manipulate, to steal. Nora, please, Anthony started. Save it. I opened the door. My lawyer will be in touch. Lawyer? Dad's face went pale. You wouldn't dare. Watch me. I stepped outside. Oh, and one more thing. I've canceled the automatic payments. Good luck with next month's mortgage. I heard Mom burst into fresh tears as I walked away. My phone buzzed. A text from Guy. Come by tomorrow morning. We'll discuss next steps. For the first time in weeks, I smiled. They thought they'd played me perfectly, used my sense of family duty against me. But they'd forgotten one important thing. They weren't the only ones who knew how to play the long game. The first missed mortgage payment hit like a bomb. My phone exploded with notifications, calls, texts, voicemails, all increasingly desperate. Nora, the bank called. Mom's first voicemail, still trying to sound calm. There must be some mistake with the payment. 3 hours later, your father is furious. Call us immediately. By evening, please, honey, we can work this out. Anthony doesn't know what he'll do if he loses the house. I deleted them all and forwarded the important ones to Guy. He'd advised me to document everything but avoid direct contact. A week later, someone pounded on my apartment door. I checked the peephole. Anthony, looking disheveled. I know you're in there, he shouted. Open up. I cracked the door, keeping the chain on. What do you want? The bank is threatening foreclosure. You have to fix this. Fix what exactly? Your free house? The money you stole? I didn't steal anything. He ran his hands through his hair. Mom and Dad arranged everything. While you just happily accepted the benefits. What was I supposed to do? Say no? Yes, Anthony. That's exactly what you were supposed to do. He changed tactics, his voice softening. Come on, sis. Remember when we were kids? How you always looked out for me? I need you to look out for me now. Like when you crashed my car in college? Or when you borrowed my credit card? I'm done looking out for you. Fine. His face twisted. Be a bitch about it. But when this tears the family apart, it's on you. I slammed the door and listened to him storm away. My hands were shaking, but not from fear, from anger. How dare he try to guilt me about family after what they'd done? The next day, I got an email from the mortgage company, copied to all parties on the loan. They were initiating foreclosure proceedings due to missed payments and irregularities in the original loan application. My phone rang. Caitlin. Your mom just showed up at my office, she said. What? Why? Trying to get me to talk sense into you. I told her to leave before I called security. I sighed. They're getting desperate. The foreclosure notice went out today. Good. Let them squirm. Caitlin paused. But be careful. Desperate people do stupid things. She was right. That evening, I found my parents waiting by my car after work. We need to talk, Dad said, blocking my path to the driver's door. My lawyer advised against that. Lawyer? Mom stepped forward. We're your parents. Since when do you need a lawyer to talk to us? Since you committed fraud. We did it for your brother. Dad's voice rose. Everything we did was to secure his future. And what about my future? The money I could have saved? The house I could have bought? You don't need help, Mom said dismissively. You've always been capable. Capable of being used, you mean? That's not fair. Mom started crying again. We're going to lose everything because of your stubbornness. No, you're going to lose everything because of your choices, your lies, your theft. We can fix this, Dad said. Just restart the payments. We'll add your name to the deed. Too late. I finally pushed past them to my car. The bank is investigating the original loan application. Guy says there's evidence of deliberate misrepresentation. Dad's face went white. You told them about the application? I told them everything. You'll regret this, he growled. When your brother ends up homeless. He can crash on your couch for a change. I got in my car. Oh wait, you won't have one either. As I drove away, I watched them in my rearview mirror. Mom was sobbing into Dad's shoulder, but I felt nothing. They'd killed my sympathy along with my trust. My phone pinged with a text from Guy. Bank investigators want to meet tomorrow. Bring all documentation. Perfect. Phase 1, stopping the payments and triggering the foreclosure, was done. Phase 2, exposing the fraud, was about to begin. Another text came through, this one from Anthony. Hope you're happy. Mom's having anxiety attacks because of you. I typed back, actions have consequences. You're about to learn that the hard way. Then I blocked his number, just like I'd blocked my parents. They'd spent years taking advantage of my sense of family obligation. Now they were learning what happened when those obligations finally ran out. The foreclosure notice sat on my passenger seat, official and final. Soon, they'd all understand exactly what their betrayal had cost them. The bank's investigation moved faster than I expected. Within 2 weeks, they'd flagged multiple irregularities in the original loan application. Guy called me at work with an update. They found altered income statements, he said. Your parents submitted documents showing Anthony made 3 times what he actually did. Of course they did. I stared out my office window. What happens now? The bank is pursuing legal action. They're sending formal notices today. I didn't have to wait long to see the fallout. Anthony burst into my workplace that afternoon, waving a stack of papers. What the hell is this? He shouted across the office. My coworkers froze at their desks. Sir, you can't just, our receptionist started. This is my sister's fault. Anthony's face was red. She's trying to destroy me. I stepped out of my cubicle. Let's take this outside. No! He thrust the papers at me. The bank is saying I committed fraud. Me. When this was all Mom and Dad's idea. Lower your voice, I hissed, grabbing his arm and dragging him toward the exit. They're talking about criminal charges. He yanked away from me in the parking lot. I could go to jail. Should have thought about that before putting your name on a fraudulent mortgage. I didn't know it was fraudulent. Mom and Dad handled everything. And you just signed whatever they put in front of you? I crossed my arms. Without reading it? Without questioning where the money was coming from? They said you wanted to help. His voice cracked. That you agreed to everything. And you believe that? That I'd just hand over hundreds of thousands of dollars to you? Why not? You've always taken care of me. Not anymore. I turned to go back inside. Talk to a lawyer, Anthony. You're going to need one. Wait. He grabbed my sleeve. Please, you have to help me. I'll lose everything. You mean you'll lose everything you stole from me? His face darkened. Fine. Be that way. But when they come after Mom and Dad too, that's on your conscience. I laughed. My conscience is clear, unlike yours. Back at my desk, I had 3 voicemails from Mom. I played them on speaker while sorting through emails. The bank is saying terrible things about your father. How could you do this to us? Delete. Anthony could go to jail. Your own brother. Is that what you want? Delete. We're your family. You can't just abandon us like this. Delete. My phone lit up with a text from Caitlin. You okay? Heard about the bank's investigation? I'm fine, I typed back. They made their choices. Now they're facing the consequences. A new email popped up from the bank's fraud department requesting an interview. They wanted my side of the story, all the documentation I had. Guy had warned me this was coming. As I gathered the files, another message arrived. From Dad's email this time. Your mother hasn't slept in days. Anthony's boss found out about the investigation. He might lose his job. Is this revenge really worth destroying your entire family? I typed back a single line. You destroyed this family when you decided to steal from me. My phone rang immediately. Dad. What? I answered. We didn't steal from you, he shouted. We redirected family resources. To buy Anthony a house, to fund his lifestyle, to cover up your lies. Everything we did was for this family. No, I said quietly. Everything you did was for Anthony. And now you're all going to pay for it. He switched to his stern father voice. You need to fix this. Now, before it goes too far. It went too far the moment you forged those loan documents. Is that a threat? No, Dad. It's a fact. The bank has everything. The fake income statements, the altered documents, the evidence of where my payments really went. It's over. Silence on the line. Then, you've killed this family. No, you and Mom did that. I'm just making sure everyone pays their fair share. I hung up and blocked his number, the last one I hadn't blocked yet. My computer pinged with a calendar reminder. Meeting with the bank investigators tomorrow morning. I looked at the stack of evidence on my desk. 8 years of lies, manipulation, and theft, all carefully documented. 8 years of my life I'd never get back. But as I prepared the files for tomorrow's meeting, I felt something I hadn't expected. Peace. They'd taken advantage of my love for family, twisted it into chains to bind me. Now those chains were breaking, link by link, and I was finally free. The foreclosure notice arrived on a Tuesday. I didn't need to be there to witness it, but I drove by the house anyway, watching from across the street as the bank representative posted the final warning on the front door. My phone buzzed. Caitlin. Are you watching? Yeah. I couldn't take my eyes off the scene. They have 30 days to vacate. How does it feel? Before I could answer, Anthony's car screeched into the driveway. He ripped the notice off the door, spotted me, and stormed across the street. Happy now? He thrust the paper at my window. They're taking the house. I stepped out of my car. The bank is taking back what was obtained through fraud. Where am I supposed to go? Where are Mom and Dad supposed to go? Maybe you should have thought about that before stealing my money. I didn't steal. He stopped as another car pulled up. Mom and Dad. Oh, good, I muttered. The whole family's here. Mom burst into tears the moment she saw the notice in Anthony's hand. Dad's face was stone. The neighbors, Mom sobbed. Everyone will know. They already know, I said. Aurora's been telling everyone who'll listen. You've ruined us, Dad growled. All of us. No, your fraud ruined you. The bank's investigation proved everything. The fake documents, the hidden accounts, all of it. We did what we had to do. Mom stepped forward. Anthony needed... Stop. I held up my hand. I don't want to hear about what Anthony needed. What about what I needed? What about my future? You were fine, Anthony shouted. You had your fancy job. A job I used to pay for your house. I jabbed a finger at the foreclosure notice. While you lived rent-free and spent my money on vacations. A car slowed as it passed, the driver openly staring at our family drama playing out on the street. See? Mom wailed. Now we're neighborhood gossip. Should have thought about that before committing fraud. Dad grabbed my arm. You can still fix this. Call off the bank. I yanked away. Touch me again, and I'll add assault to the charges. Charges? Anthony's face went pale. What charges? The bank's pressing criminal charges for mortgage fraud. I looked at each of them. Against all of you. Mom collapsed against Dad, sobbing harder. Anthony looked like he might throw up. They can't prove anything, Dad said, but his voice shook. They have everything. The falsified income statements, the hidden accounts, the emails planning how to deceive me. I smiled coldly. Very thorough paper trail. Please, Mom whispered. We're your family. Family doesn't steal hundreds of thousands of dollars from each other. We can pay you back, Anthony said desperately. I laughed. With what money? Your minimum wage job? Dad's pension? The house you're losing? More neighbors were gathering, watching from their yards. Aurora stood on her porch, phone in hand, probably recording everything. You have 30 days to vacate, I said, getting back in my car. I'd start packing. Wait! Anthony grabbed my door before I could close it. What about Mom and Dad? Where are they supposed to go? Not my problem. How can you be so cold? Mom cried. We raised you. And then you betrayed me. Repeatedly. For years. I started the engine. Actions have consequences. The police, Dad said suddenly. They're coming to question us tomorrow. I know. They want my statement too. I put the car in drive. I've got 8 years of evidence to share. You would do that? Anthony's voice cracked. Send your own family to jail? I looked at them one last time. Mom crying, Dad seething, Anthony panicking. The family that had manipulated and stolen from me for nearly a decade. You stopped being my family the moment you decided to steal from me. I drove away, watching them shrink in my rearview mirror. My phone started buzzing with texts. Probably more guilt trips, more accusations, more attempts to manipulate me. Instead, it was Caitlin. Just saw everything. You okay? Better than okay, I replied at a stoplight. I'm free. Another text came through. This one from Guy. Police want to meet tomorrow at 9. Bring everything. I smiled, thinking of the extensive files waiting at home. 8 years of evidence. 8 years of their lies and manipulation, all meticulously documented. They thought they'd played me perfectly, used my love for family to blind me. But they'd forgotten something crucial. The same dedication I'd once given to helping them, I could now turn to destroying them. And I was just getting started. The last box from my old apartment landed with a thud in my new living room. My living room. In my house. Bought with my money. In my name only. My phone buzzed. Another blocked number. They'd been calling from different phones since the arrests, trying to get through. I deleted the voicemail without listening. Caitlin appeared in the doorway with a bottle of champagne. Ready to celebrate? Almost. I pulled out my laptop and opened my email. Just need to check something first. There it was. The final update from Guy. The plea deals had been accepted. My parents would serve 18 months for fraud, with Anthony getting 12 months plus restitution. The bank had recovered most of their losses through the house sale, but Anthony would be paying me back for years. They took the deals? Caitlin peered over my shoulder. Yep. No trial needed. I closed the laptop. Now we can celebrate. She popped the champagne as someone knocked on my door. Through the peephole, I saw Aurora. I brought a housewarming gift, she called out. I opened the door. She handed me a casserole dish, just like the one that had started this whole thing. I also brought news, she said, stepping inside. Your parents' house just sold. The new owners are moving in next week. My brother's house, I corrected. And good. I hope they're happy there. Happier than the last owners, Aurora said. The whole neighborhood's been talking about nothing else since the arrests. My phone buzzed again. This time, a text from an unknown number. Mom's crying herself to sleep every night in jail. Hope you're satisfied. I showed it to Caitlin, who snorted. Still trying to guilt you? They don't know how to do anything else. I blocked the new number. Aurora shifted uncomfortably. Your Aunt Marie asked me to talk to you about forgiveness. There's nothing to forgive, I said, pouring champagne. They made their choices. Now they're facing the consequences. But they're your family. No, I cut her off. Family doesn't steal from each other. Family doesn't lie and manipulate for years. Family doesn't commit fraud. My phone lit up with an email notification from Anthony's girlfriend, sent through my work address to bypass the blocks. Anthony's life is ruined, she wrote. His career, his future, everything. How could you do this to your own brother? I showed the others. Caitlin rolled her eyes. He ruined his own life when he decided to steal from you. Exactly. I deleted the email. I'm done feeling guilty for other people's choices. Aurora sipped her champagne. The police came back yesterday. Something about additional charges? They found more fraud, I nodded. Apparently, my parents pulled similar schemes with other relatives. I wasn't their only victim, just their biggest one. Jesus, Caitlin muttered. They're serial fraudsters. Another text came through. Your father had a panic attack in jail. This is killing them. Please help. I blocked that number too, then raised my glass. To my new home, bought with my own money, in my own name. To justice, Caitlin added. To truth, Aurora chimed in. My doorbell rang. Through the peephole, I saw Anthony's girlfriend, eyes red from crying. I'm not answering that, I said. We watched through the window as she left a letter on my porch, then drove away. Aren't you curious what it says? Aurora asked. Not really. I sipped my champagne. It's either more guilt trips or more accusations. Either way, I'm not interested. Caitlin squeezed my shoulder. How does it feel? Being free? I looked around my new living room, at the boxes, waiting to be unpacked. At the life I was finally building for myself. It feels right, I said. For the first time in years, everything feels right. My phone buzzed one final time. A text from Guy. Additional fraud charges filed. They won't be getting out early. I smiled and turned my phone off completely. Let them sit in their cells, writing their guilt trip letters and planning their manipulation tactics. Let them cry their crocodile tears and play their victim cards. I was done. Done being the responsible one. Done being the family ATM. Done being manipulated and used. To new beginnings, I said, raising my glass again. Through my new windows, I could see the sunset painting the sky in brilliant colors. Tomorrow, I'd start unpacking. Tomorrow, I'd begin decorating my house. My house. Exactly how I wanted it. But tonight I celebrated with true friends who understood that sometimes the best family is the one you choose for yourself. And I didn't feel guilty at all.